My name is Marge Piercy. I'm a writer, poet, novelist, memoirist, etc., etc., etc. Feminist, political activist, lefty. When I was 18, I got pregnant by my first boyfriend in college. And I could not find any way to get an abortion as a working class girl in Detroit. There was no available way, so I had to do it myself. And I almost killed myself. I almost bled to death. So I decided that that was never going to happen to any woman that I could do anything about. So for years, I kept a file of abortionists. Whenever I heard of a good one, I helped women get abortions. I held them while they bled afterwards when the doctor who did it wouldn't help them. All the way up until the time that abortions became legal to the degree they're legal after Roe v. Wade. I was very active. We took to the streets, and the high school students took to the streets in New York. It wasn't the Supreme Court that changed things. They yielded to enormous pressure. We were in the streets. We were busing up to Albany and pressuring the legislature and pestering them half to death about it. And there was one demonstration after another. I'm a fairly good rabble-rousing speaker, so I spoke at a number of those. And it just, finally, it became more legal. And then, of course, it's been rolled back and rolled back and rolled back. And then on the Cape, as things were getting bad again, we started a group called Roots of Choice, and we did escorts for women going into abortions and also taking them to pharmacies afterwards and getting groceries if they needed to get groceries, etc. And I became fairly close to some of the women working in the clinic and wrote a poem about them that they liked a lot, about what it's like to work in a clinic. And we took people into Boston. In one case, we got a woman there just as her ectopic pregnancy, which the doctor hadn't recognized, which I actually diagnosed just as it was about to burst, and she just went straight into the operating room. So we did that for a number of years till people sort of burned out. And it's still a very important issue to me. I lost my best friend when I was 24 to a botched abortion. She bled to death, and it was covered up. Usually those kind of deaths were then covered up. And it wasn't just women who were seeking abortions. I had a friend who desperately wanted a child, and she was pregnant and she lost the child. But when you lost a child, you were treated like a criminal, and so she lay in the corridor in the hospital, and they wouldn't give her anything, and they wouldn't do anything. They treated her like a criminal. It was just agony for her. It was hell in those days. I gave a speech for Planned Parenthood in Ann Arbor one time about what life was really like, talking to the students who come to that. It was a time when falling in love could kill you. It was a time in which getting pregnant could ruin your life, because you'd be kicked out of school. You might be thrown out of your home. I had friends who were just thrown out by their parents because they got pregnant. It made your life a living hell if it didn't kill you. I've had women say to me, "Oh, my doctor would always do it." Well, your doctor wouldn't always do it because he didn't want to go to jail. The guys who did it right were heroes, but they were supported by always a corrupt administration, and usually some form of what was called the syndicate or the mafia or whatever you call them. They were allowed to exist illegally, and it added to the corruption in a place. But they were still heroes because they were willing to do it.
I'm gonna show you